Hey there, my friends. What's going on? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Yet again, we have a great guest, a blue collar wife, nurse, and mom of three who has persevered her way to success. Jessica, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good morning. I'm really good. How are you, Dave?
I'm fantastic. You're calling in
Great.
from the good old Midwest. Tell
I
us what
am.
state.
So I live in Illinois. We live about 30 minutes outside of St. Louis, so like right across the bridge.
Cool.
So yeah, definitely a nice little Midwestern river town.
And you are a mom. You're a blue collar wife, so I would assume your husband is in some sort of trade, and you are a nurse.
Yeah.
Wow, the
Yeah.
best of what America has to offer, right there inside of your family. That's
Yeah.
for sure. So, what led you to legendary marketer? What were you looking for?
So I well, we kind of went through all of the normal things that everybody goes through. We met, we got married. I went through nursing school. My husband is a union teamster. We had our kids, which I already had one from a previous, so we have three total.
Hmm.
And then we decided to build our dream home. And um, it was kind of a timing thing. As we
Yeah.
all know, the economy has just been insane, and the cost of everything, inflation, and it was kind of one of those things where we broke ground on our house and poured a foundation, and then like everything hit the fan,
Mm.
and the price of building supplies and materials and all that had gone up so much, and we were kind of like, well, we've sold our house. We've moved in with my mother-in-law, and we have a basement, a foundation in the ground. Like, we don't have
Wow.
we have to move forward. And so at that point, I was kind of like, all right, well, we can either sit here and wallow in our self-pity and cry and, live paycheck to paycheck and not be able to live the life that we want to, or we can do something about it.
Mm.
And at that point, that's when I started to come across some other moms on TikTok that were talking about this opportunity. And I was just like, all right, you know what? Like, I'm all in. I'm gonna promise myself I'm gonna spend the $7, learn these skills, and I'm gonna put like 150% into it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's $7. Like, if I'm not able to apply these skills to anything that I can then monetize, then whatever, I'm out the price of a coffee. But if it does work, like, that's too much to not to pass up. It's too much to risk. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my why behind it, is just to really like, I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to be doing the 40-hour grind away from
Yeah.
kids every day. I want to live a thriving life. And I felt like the skills that this education brought me would give me a chance to be able to do that.
Yeah, and that's great that you said the key word there, education. This is I know on your questionnaire, we asked you a couple of questions just to get to know a little bit more about you before. Because, by the way, my friends, we have a guest on every single morning that is simply a client of our education. That's it. I mean, that's what you are. I've never talked to you before, just the same way that I've never talked to any of the other guests on this show. Literally, I actually came on 3 minutes late and apologized for being late, and we went live, right?
Yeah.
So, so I know so many of us have done MLMs in the past. I know so many of us have done other business opportunities or side hustles or all, I mean, look, we're all grown adults. We've had quite a few days under our belt and we've all tried a few things. But the thing that's different about this is that we try to emphasize the education
Hmm.
that even if you go through, as you said, very simply take the challenge, lay down $7, and more than anything, you're just committing your time to something because
Yes.
it's not the money, right?
Right.
And that's really how I see all education. It's really money is especially when there's an ROI attached to it. Why not pay to up level your skills? But that's exactly what they are. They're skills.
Yes.
And even if, God forbid something happened to Legendary, every single one of our students slash clients here would walk away with a set of skills.
Yes.
And that would apply to any old MLM that you did in the past or
Yeah.
any MLM you do in the future, any other product that you want to promote as an affiliate, any course, coaching program or event that you want to do or promote. And there's so many different ways to do that. Nowadays, that can just look like a Zoom. That's your
Right.
live event. You're just hosting a Zoom call. And um, whatever value you put on that is how much you're going to sell that for. It doesn't always have to be a $7. It could be a $700 Zoom workshop
Right.
that you do over a weekend and you deliver from your home. So you nailed it. You said the word education. And how is your mindset also maybe a little bit different in how you're approaching this as opposed to other things that you've done in the past, that maybe you were, you looked at it differently or you approached it differently? Is it that the pain is greater now and that you're find yourself to where you really need to do something? Or is it like, hey, I now have, it's not the pain, it's that I have a greater understanding and a bigger vision for my life now, and I realize that if I want to make more money, I need to level up my skills. It's not just going to fall from the sky, etc. Talk to us a little bit about like where your mindset is different now than maybe where it was on other things that you've tried in the past.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. And I think honestly, like to me, the gift of the mindset shift that I've experienced through this means more to me than any like monetary anything, because I had to get so real with myself
Mm.
after taking this education. Because I mean, I feel like so many of us, we kind of tend to like, oh well, the education just wasn't that great, or I didn't have the right support, or I didn't, this opportunity just wasn't for me, or whatever. There's always like, if it's not working right away, it's like you want to come up with this kind of like excuse.
Talk about it.
Yeah, and so like I realized when after I went through the challenge, and that's one thing that I really loved about the challenge is there was a lot of mindset. There's a lot of mindset talk, which I am so passionate about because I really think that that is going to be the difference between whether you succeed or fail is your mindset. Um, but it really opened my eyes to where I was and why the things in the past really hadn't worked for me.
I love that.
And like I tried MLMs. I did several of them. A couple of them I did multiple times. I tried so many different things, and when I look back on it now, it was like, well, you quit. Like you quit. You you weren't successful in a few weeks or a few months or whatever it was, and you just quit. Like
Yeah.
that's the
So
key.
honest. So
Yeah.
honest. So simple.
Your mindset wasn't there. It wasn't anybody else's fault. It wasn't the opportunity. It wasn't the training or whatever. You quit. If there was something that didn't feel
Mm.
okay, like perfect example, like this opportunity for me right now, like I said, I had to get very real with myself. And I realized that where I was struggling was in the content creation aspect of this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that like I couldn't create it or I didn't know how or I was too shy or any of that, because that was not a problem. It was having the courage to be so real and raw and authentic and share my story, because that is what people are going to connect with. And that's where I was struggling. And
Mm.
when I say I had to get real with myself, I had to figure out like why is it so hard for me to like be so real and raw and authentic? Like why is it so hard for me to just like show up and just start talking and share my story? And I had to really like that I had to tap into some stuff from my
What did you learn
past.
about yourself?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, just that because that what you're talking about right now is like the thing for everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, you just took this whole conversation to about 15 levels deeper because you just but you always know that you're onto something. It's deep and it's meaningful when it's simple to understand.
Yeah.
And what you just did was you just laid it out maybe as clearly and as beautifully and as articulate as I've ever heard every single one of our dilemma and problem when we start something new.
Yeah.
And it is very simply that we quit.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
It's
it.
not it's not the economy, it's not the president. And you know what? The more we talk about and point the finger at those people, the more we give our power away.
Exactly.
So no longer that's the shitty part. Sure, you can blame it on somebody else, or I can blame it on somebody else, but I also render myself powerless when I
Exactly.
do that. Powerless and helpless.
Yes.
This is what we call learned helplessness because
Mhm.
somebody people do that in society all day every day. So we've all learned that
Yeah.
it's easy to like that's what we do. We
Yeah.
find something or someone that's the problem. And it's like we create, there's an enemy, right? And
Yeah.
then we go after the enemy.
Yes.
What if the enemy was just me? That's never a concept that is really viable for so many people because we don't know what to do with that. Okay, what do I do with that?
Right.
Well, actually what you get to do with that.
Well, it means that you would have to like actually take action and actually implement some things and like admit that maybe you need some more education or maybe you need some more help or maybe you need whatever it is. Maybe you need to go. Like one of the things that came out of this for me is I started going and seeing a therapist because
Amen.
I realized, okay, like I've never really worked through my past and my childhood and things that I've gone through, and I really feel like as an adult that is kind of one of the things that is holding me back. It's holding
Mm.
me back. It's like that's why I'm afraid to show up authentically and share my true story and my true self
Yeah.
because so that's one of the things that I had to do. I had to say, okay, well, how can I, how can I fix this? Like all the other stuff came pretty easily to me, the tech side of it and all that the email marketing and all the things that you learn. I was able to figure that out. I'm pretty good on a computer and I was able to figure all that stuff out. But the concept of social media marketing and like showing up as yourself and just like getting on every day and showing up and speaking to someone and like relating to people and sharing your story and being like totally open and authentic so that they can truly connect with you. That's where I was like I was struggling and I had to get really real. Like I said, I had to like be like, okay, like what do I need to do? How can I crack that? How can I crack that code? And so I had to start thinking about like, how am I spending my time? Like, how am I, what am I consuming? What podcasts am I listening to? What
Yeah.
books am I reading? What music am I listening to? Like, am I just binging Netflix at night? Like, how am I spending my time and nurturing my mindset?
Yeah.
Because like I'll be honest, I'm like a true crime junkie. Okay. Like I will listen all day to like crime junkie on podcast and I enjoy it, but like I
Sure.
had to really think about that. I'm like, okay, like is that really a good like is that a good way to spend my time all day? I'm sitting here listening to all these horrible stories and when I could be like listening to things about content creation and
Yeah.
about showing up authentically. And so and I went out and I invested more. I found trainings that covered content creation
While
and
you're on this, I want to give you, since you like to listen to podcasts, do a Brene Brown Daring Greatly
okay.
audiobook
Okay.
because it's all about vulnerability. And there's a difference between, sharing your story and being vulnerable and oversharing and being inappropriate. Shelly James actually made a comment that said, "I feel my story is inappropriate to share. I have to make it
Uh,
very vague." Shelly, I see you a lot on the show, and I just want to shout you out and say welcome and glad you're here. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to feeling like that, but it's there is a middle ground between
yeah,
oversharing and also sharing things that you haven't yet processed.
yeah,
Okay. If you
totally.
haven't processed something yet with a trained professional. Now, I know that we like to go and take our most inner, delicate things and share them with like friends and family, but oftentimes those are the most unsafe people to share things with because
Totally.
you know it's just I think we all know, right? It's like
Mhm.
so go to somebody who can be can be safe and healthy for you to share and process, to understand first of all what's going on with you, and then what is appropriate to share. For me, in the beginning of my career online, I shared about my getting clean and being sober and having a past with drug addiction because I was sober and
Yeah,
I had processed that being sober for a period of time. And I had been in recovery for a couple of years at that point, really. So
yeah,
I wasn't sharing it in the middle of my addiction.
right.
That might have been inappropriate. I don't know. Thank God I wasn't high or whatever going live and all that,
Yeah,
because going live and all that wasn't really a thing back then. But it is important to be gentle with yourself and to not think that you need to go out and air all of your laundry that you don't know whether it's dirty or not. And if you're not clear about it, you don't have to share it with it is not required to share your personal life story here in order to be successful. We only share stories to make a point, and
right.
we make points and we include stories. That it's not required that you share your life story,
No,
right? It's what I believe Jessica is talking about is the idea of realizing that what, we all have the same information in the course that teaches
mhm.
us how to do XYZ. The difference is our mindset.
Yes.
And when we run, I mean, let me say that one more time. We all have the, even in an MLM, let's just say a random MLM that you went and joined and you were going to participate in the business opportunity and etc. Well, everybody's got the same product to sell. Everybody's got the same compensation plan. The bottom line is that if I'm failing at it, there's something that I'm doing differently than somebody who's succeeding or who
Right.
is it's because it's the same information. It's the same here. We have the same information for every student in our course. Some get into module 1 and get overwhelmed and quit.
Hmm.
Some people, are excited, but then life happens and you get distracted. So it's the discipline, it's the level of focus, it's the level of noticing when things come up. Ooh, I'm really afraid right now for some reason, and being curious about that instead of deflecting that uncomfortable feeling to blame and then
Right.
playing the victim, right?
Yes.
Because then and I think that's more of what you're talking about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, so when I say like being able to show up authentically and share my story, it's more like I need to be able to relate my story to the message that I'm trying to share in my business. Like, it's not that you need to come on there and share every detail of your life and everything that you've ever been through, but you need to be able to, even if it's a story from today, if it's something that happened today, if it's something that happened on your way to work or whatever it is, you have got to be able to take what what you are doing and your experiences and use it to story tell and relate your message to your business because that's how people connect with you. There,
whatever it is that you're selling,
whatever it
it's
is.
about connecting, honestly, just a story to
Yeah,
whatever it is that you're talking about. If you can relate something from your own life, fine. But if you
exactly.
want to tell a story or use something else, I mean, content is basically all these TikTok videos or Instagram videos or whatever that are working so well from a marketing standpoint nowadays are mini commercials.
Yes.
So you think through, hey, what kind of a, I want to make a point. Is there a story I can use to make the point?
Yes.
Right? I used to say never make a point without telling a story, never tell a story without making a point. It kind of reminds me, and it's you could use the hook story offer framework as well. It's like you say something to catch somebody's attention, you tell them a quick story, and then you relate that story. You transition with a call to action and say, if you want more of that, or if that's something that relates to you, then check out this, right? Click the link, get a free download, get more free stuff, get more free value. It's and then over time, you get somebody on your email list or somebody shows up to a live. That's an opportunity for you to share more about you, about your business, about your passion, about your why. And nobody cares about how much you know until they know how much you
Right.
care,
Ex-
right?
yes, exactly.
And how real you are. And that makes people feel more excited to buy from you in this day and age, because it's never been more true that people really want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And the
Y-
way that you get somebody to know, like, and trust with you is humor and vulnerability,
Yes.
or educating people, but not being condescending.
Well, and not being too like, I think part of my problem in the beginning is because I tend to be a very like black and white person. Like, I'm going to show up like, hey, like, these are the facts. This is what is, this is what is offered. This is how much it is. This is, you know what I mean? And it was
Yeah.
okay, but like, there's 50 million other people on here doing that has the same product or whatever it may
Because
be.
that's your analytical personality
Yes.
more, right? And I love that you brought that up.
And I think like people don't connect with that. I mean, maybe after they've already connected with you, then you can come to at them with your offer, your product, the details of that. But like if they're just scrolling through and you're just like throwing, this product at their face or the specifics of it, they're just going to keep going because there's a million other people that are doing that. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I'm saying when I say like your mindset and sharing, incorporating your story into your brand and your social media marketing, because you are what is going to set your business apart.
Yeah.
You are your brand. You are your business. You are the one unique thing that can set you apart from everyone else. And trust me, like I need to hear this the most. So I'm talking to myself here. But like
Sure.
there are people out there that need to hear from you. Your target audience, your tribe is out there. Like I've heard so many people say, well, I just don't, I don't think anybody is going to care about what about my story or about what I have to say or, me. And it's like, no, trust me. There are people out there. They will come. You just have to show up. You have to show up consistently and authentically and be yourself. And that's what I mean. You have to be yourself, incorporate you into your brand, into your content creation, into your email marketing. And like you said, that doesn't mean you get on there and you share your entire life story and every detail of everything you've ever gone through. That's not what I mean. I mean, you've got to insert these little, parts of yourself into your marketing.
Humanize yourself.
Yes,
I
exactly.
mean, it's really that simple, right? It's like making it making your best effort to, like, not just be a, like, some weirdo on the internet, or so, because every single person is scrolling this phone like this at
Yes.
a distance, and they're there for a very specific thing. They're not really there to, nobody wakes up and is like, let me go spend money on the internet. Like nobody grabs their phone with that intention, right? They're more kind of like scrolling. They want to be educated. They mostly want to be entertained.
Mhm.
Mostly want to be entertained. We all do when we pick up our phone. That's why we sit in front of screens, to either work or be entertained.
Yeah.
There's no really other reason. Work or
Yeah.
be entertained,
Yeah.
right? So, so yeah, if they scroll by and they just see you kind of your pitch or your product or whatever, that's instantly going to turn them off. So you have to suck people in
Yeah.
with, and that's how we chum the waters. It's the analogy of fishing. It's like when you go out in a boat and there's no fish around, you just start throwing different stuff out, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, cat food, you know, you might just cut up some pieces of fish just to get some shit in the water
Yeah.
and get it stinking and smelling and getting the fish. It's like the sharks, for example. How do you think you go shark fishing? Well, they dump a bunch of blood and stuff in the water.
Mhm.
It attracts. You can't just go randomly always out to the middle of the ocean and just drop bait down and just think that there's going to be fish right there. Fishing is you're going, you're finding, you're strategizing. What water am I going to go? What species am I going to, like, if you're a good fisherman. Now, if
Yeah.
you're just some guy, random dad who's just going to go out there and sit under the sun and maybe you catch fish, maybe you don't, that's a hobbyist.
Hmm.
So it's not important that that guy has a strategy. But if
Yeah.
you want to do this as a business and make money, it's important that you have a strategy about this. And this is what the fishing formula business plan is all about. It's about identifying kind of like, first of all, I mean, what are you going to sell? Like, what niche do you want to be in? Okay, I got a product. I'll plug that in. Now, where do those people hang out? Who are those people that might want this product? What kind of content can I put out there that is going to get that kind of person stopping from scrolling?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm selling a how to get a baby to sleep through the night, then content with a baby, or content talking about a baby, content that's funny about how parents don't get any sleep at
Yeah.
night, maybe skit videos about kind of like, laying there and the baby starts crying. I mean, there's a million things that I could do with my phone that are just, I could try.
Yeah.
I could go to the course that I'm promoting. If I'm an affiliate, I could, God forbid, buy it and go through it. I mean, or just read a bunch of random stuff out on the internet and share those tips in quick little videos I mean, it's all about chumming those waters
Yeah.
you don't know what's going to work,
No,
right?
you have to keep trying. You have to keep, like, that's another thing. You have to keep trying, and you might have to change what you're doing. So, like, if what
Yeah.
you're doing isn't working and you're not getting the results that you want, then change it up. Like you said, you've got to have a strategy. You've got to, the fishing analogy is perfect because it's like you can throw the same thing out there a million times, but if the fish don't want that, then they're not going to come. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Change your
might.
bait, change your chum, change your spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I've been doing, like, over and over and over again, because I am not giving up. Like, and I've had success, and I'm very happy with my success in more ways than one, but I'm not done. And so, like, I am going to continue to, be resourceful. That's a big thing. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be resourceful. There are so many resources and opportunities and education modules and whatever you want to call
Info
it.
overload, honestly.
Yes, that you could go out there and you can find something that speaks to you and that might, like, crack the code for you, because what works for one person may not work for someone else. But
Yeah.
you know like, for the content creation thing, for me, I've invested in, you know um content storytelling, coaching sessions, and, like, social media audits, and, like, different things that you can do to try to get some more knowledge and to figure out what it is. What are you missing?
Yeah.
What are you
Sure.
missing, and how can you implement that? And you
Well,
just keep doing that over and over again.
I'd like everybody to just based on that piggybacking on that, I'd like to everybody to just really think about how does it make you feel when I say, when is the last time that you've invested in yourself? And what does that actually mean to you? Does that actually, is that just like like it sounds good,
Yeah.
right? But what does it really mean, right? Because there's a lot of buzzword sayings and stuff that, get thrown around, and investing in yourself is one of them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
But if we think about it a little bit deeper, what you just said is exactly that. You are you with this business, running the core four business models, you are the piece, you are the stove. Let's just say you have a restaurant and the most important piece of equipment is your stove, right? If you don't have a stove, you can't cook. Well, in this, the most important thing is not your funnel builder, and it's not your autoresponder, it's not whatever other else, it's you. You are the stove. You are the hammer. You are the crane. The most important thing in your business is you.
Yeah.
And so the reason why it's actually easy to succeed doing this, and I know that feels uncomfortable for a lot of you to hear me say that, and it may even piss you off, but I'm not saying it's easy to succeed with this. I'm saying it's easy to succeed in life because most people will not invest in themselves. Most people will quit.
Mhm.
Most people will stop the moment they feel uncomfortable. Most people will point the finger and try to find somebody to blame and give all their power away and sit there. It's learned helplessness and victim stancing. These
Yeah.
people are not bad people. I've done it too and still can have the tendency to do it. Why?
Absolutely.
Because I'm human. But if you're aware that human nature is like, we're lazy, we look for the easiest path, the softer route. Human beings, it's in our nature, it's a survival mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking for the easier, softer way. We are looking for safety. We are looking to get our bare minimum needs met. And for the most part, look at Maslow's hierarchy. If you have your shelter, your food, your water, reproductive needs, I don't even know if those are but safety, that's your first level of needs. That's all you need to be able to live a life
Yeah.
on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And that's good enough for a lot of people. And so it's actually, I know that a lot of you have been telling yourselves that it's hard to succeed. I'm struggling, blah, blah, blah. Well, and you will continue to, as long as that is what you speak into existence, as
Yeah.
long as that is what you tell yourself and others. But what I'm telling you is it's actually easy. I'm just, let me make this all about I, me, my. I'm a recovery guy, so I don't like to use the word you because I need to be talking about myself. And so it's easy for me to succeed, not because I'm special. Many of you who come to the mastermind here in a couple of days will see I'm a regular guy. A little bit of a dad bod, sweat like a pig all day long, gray hairs out coming out everywhere. I'm not even 40 years old. I am a human being, okay? But I'll tell you why I know that I can succeed in anything that I do. It's because most people will quit.
Yeah.
Most people will not. If I went into car sales tomorrow, if I went into accounting tomorrow, I would know exactly how to become a top earner in that, company or that field, or not because I have any of the specific knowledge about that field, because none of that matters. Everybody gets that same curriculum. The difference maker is my mindset and the fact that I expect challenges now, am okay with them, look at them as fun. I know that every challenge that I have is going to become a story that
Yeah.
I can tell once I
Yes.
overcome it. I mean, look at all these stories I got of my dad, who's this guy beat death 4 times in the last 60 days. He was damn
Oh,
near almost dead.
oh
And now he's back. He's off the ventilator now.
my
He's up
God.
and awake. I mean, he's still in a hospital. It's a rehab hospital. But I mean, this guy's taught me what it means to be brave and what it means to persevere and what it means to be tough and to fight for your family, to
Never
stay alive. Right.
to never quit. Yeah.
And so so all of these, if we can look at life and this business as it's easy to do because it's also easy to succeed because most people just won't try to even be kind or to even help people, right? What are some of the things that you're doing that you can tell are a little above and beyond, that work, that the extra work is worth the, now it's delayed gratification, right? Maybe it's that you're putting a little more effort into your videos. Maybe it's that you try to reply to comments and talk to people in DMs. What are you doing to where you're not only using high tech, we know you're using that, but you're also using high touch and
Yeah.
putting in a little bit of extra effort and it's paying off?
I'll tell you one thing. I pretty much reply to every single comment that I get. I just feel like if people are taking the time out of their day to comment on my content, like, wow. Because I'll tell you right now, I hardly ever comment on anything.
Mm.
When I'm just like scrolling social media, not for my business, but just for like my personal whatever, mind numbing scroll that I do sometimes, I don't ever comment. So for people to take their time to comment on my stuff, I reply to every single comment.
That's sweet.
I also have a Facebook group that I send my leads to, where I feel like it's a more tight knit community there, where that's where you can really be more vulnerable and open, and that's a community, like a family. So I send them there because that's where I can really try to help more, offer more resources, be present and try to help people through their journey.
Mm.
um you know I think the other thing is, so when I went through the challenge, I had no idea what I was going to do after I did it. I just knew that I was going to learn how to tap into the online space, because like my mindset was, well, this is an online world now. And like, I knew there were so many ways that you could monetize the internet. And I'm like, I spend way too much time on here anyway. So there has to be a way to monetize this. But I really had no idea like what I would do after that. So the fact that now I've built two full businesses just from using the skills that I learned in the 15-day business builder challenge. I've built two full businesses that pretty much run mostly automated. So most of the income that I make is mostly passive. It's mind blowing to me that I've done that, and it's so empowering. Like when you think about, well, when I think about where I've come from, I was a single mom for 10 years. I was like in the depths of struggle for a long time in my life. And to now think that I've gone through nursing school, I've earned two nursing degrees, I've done all this, and then I've gone on and spent $7 and turned that into two full online businesses. Like, what? It's just crazy to me. So I think for everyone, I don't know, for me, it's, if that possibility is out there for you, if you know that other people have done that, I don't understand how you could ever not want to try this opportunity, how you could ever not want to take 2 weeks and learn some skills and see if it's something that you would be interested in trying, or see if it's something that you could apply
Yeah.
to your life or your business, or maybe a business that you've been thinking about over the years that you just never had the courage to try. Um, to me, it's just priceless. I would have spent 5 times, I would have spent way more than $7 for what I've gotten out of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to
Go ahead.
answer your question, I think just making sure that you're having all those high touch moments, like you said. The people that take the time out of their day to comment and to send you messages and to engage with you, those are the opportunities for you to really connect and nurture those moments and what will possibly turn into a loyal follower or a loyal community member or a loyal customer, you know. So to me, it's making sure that, you know, like I said, I reply to every single comment, every single email, every single DM. I'm in my Facebook group. And that I feel like is really has made a big difference for me. And then also the other thing that I felt like has been helping me is just continuing to be as open-minded as possible to learning, to realizing that you are never going to know it all. And to being willing to take the time to learn a little bit more. Like I said, whatever isn't working, if it's your content, if it's whatever it is, you have got to be willing to go out and, you know, whatever, even if you don't have the money to invest, Google it. There's all kinds of free resources out there. Be willing to take the time to watch a video, read an article, read a guide, you know, take notes, apply what you're learning, get very, very strategic with your content and with your message, and be willing to continue to refine that. That's what's been working for me. And it's not been an overnight success for me. I'm not the top 1%. But, you know, I think like probably most people like me probably would have quit. And that's the difference. That's the mindset. Instead of quitting, you have to be willing to continue to get uncomfortable in order to grow. You have to be willing to continue to open your mind, you know, learn a little bit more and continue applying that, continue adjusting what you're doing until it works. Eventually it's going to work. It has to.
Well, I want you to think about this for a second. And you're on here just absolutely on fire this morning. And it is just a beautiful thing to see. And just think, you didn't even think, I mean, you were honored to be on here, surprised that we asked you. You said in your questionnaire, I mean, how close? You just mentioned it, but I mean, you had to have been so close to none of this even happening. Like this interview, like this whole thing, right? All those little moments that you just mentioned where you almost quit, should have quit, I mean, was walking down that path, choosing that door. And it's like here you are, um, like it's almost like success will just slap you in the face sometimes. Like you're like feeling like you're failing, and then all of a sudden somebody asks you to speak somewhere, or like some big fat commission comes in. You know what I mean? And you're like,
Been there.
you know what I mean? You're like,
Oh God.
I even have that happen sometimes because in my life I'm just a regular guy, So I mean, there's not like a point at which you start levitating or you get so rich that like you walk around in like a sphere or something and like your life. It's just you have all the same stuff, but you just your life is you're transforming your life through these decisions that you're making, which are showing you that it's not as scary as you thought it was, which are showing you that you're more capable than you thought you were, which are showing you evidence. See, up until that point, you've given yourself no evidence to believe anything different about yourself. Who gives a shit what you believe about other people?
Yeah.
Because we believe all kinds of stuff about other people, mostly shit that's not even true, right? We see Brad Pitt in a movie and think he's always like that. You see him in real life, you're like, damn. Damn, bro. Need to get some Botox or something going on the face, looking like, I mean, I'm just picking on him. I'm just saying that we always put people on a pedestal on a screen.
Yeah.
on a screen or in a book or a story or somebody that we don't really know that we're looking at their life on Facebook and we're like, oh, I wish I had a like, honestly, that person might be on the brink of divorce or about to get fired. We don't know,
You know,
right? We got all this fake evidence about everybody else that we believe to be true, but we're not giving ourselves any evidence to believe anything different. And that's what's important
yeah.
is to persevere through these moments like you've done, to then finally be on the interview, to finally get some money rolling in, to finally be on a path to success, or where you've got some evidence that, wait, hold on a second. Despite how I was just feeling a week ago, Dave Sharpe just had me on the damn interview and said I was rocking and rolling, right?
And
Holy shit.
such a good point though, because I cannot even tell you how many times in my journey, and I took the challenge in July of 2022. Okay, so I've been at this for almost a year now. And I cannot tell you how many times I have been so discouraged, so like just down on myself and like, what am I doing wrong? Like, because even though like I'm a very realistic person, I know that overnight success is not going to happen for most everybody. It does happen, but most of the time it's not going to happen. It's going to take some hard work and perseverance and longevity. Longevity.
My success is still happening. I mean,
Yeah.
I really have, I don't feel super accomplished. I don't wake up every day and be like,
Like,
it is so good to be so successful. And no, I wake up a lot of mornings and I feel like shit. I feel like a failure. I feel like I just got to keep in the game and keep winning, because what I ate yesterday doesn't make me go doo-doo today.
Exactly. Exactly. No, and it's like that's the thing. There were so many times that I was like, I'm just like, I'm gonna throw in the towel. Even though like I would say that in my head, but really I'm like, no, I'm not, because that's not me. But like I would be so upset and down. And then like something would happen. Like one little thing, whether it was, a viral video, a little commission or big commission, um, whatever, just something little like you
Comment,
out to
a comment, an
a
invitation to an interview,
something, and
Yeah.
it would like relight that
Yeah.
fire. And so I'm like, no, like I got to keep going. I'm gonna keep going until I make this happen, because
Yeah.
I think you have to be so hungry. Like you have to be so hungry. You have to envision the life that you want and keep that right in front of you. Like I want to live a life where I can just get up in the morning and book a vacation. I want to live a life where, if I want to put a pool in my backyard, I'm going to put a pool in my backyard. Like, and these are all like really big, lofty, like things, but like, okay, like who says I can't do that? If Joe down the road can do that, why can't I? Why can't I make that happen? You
Yeah.
know? So,
Instead of saying must be nice,
yes,
say
I hate that comment.
my time's coming, or why not me? You know what I
Like,
mean? That must be nice mentality will keep you so broke.
yes. Oh my gosh. And I see that so much like on other affiliate marketers, like social and their comments. It's so much people are just must be nice, must be, and it's like you're never gonna grow that way. You know, because it's almost like you said, like you can blame someone else that way. It's like, you're not looking at yourself and saying, like, well, what am I doing that's holding me back from living a life like that?
Right. It's such an obvious question, but it's such a you started the interview off talking about being honest with yourself, getting real, being authentic. I mean, I think that part of being authentic, forget being authentic to everybody else for just a minute. And just what you're talking about right now is connecting that dot real clearly for me and how you've thought and to get to where you are, because being authentic is about exactly what you just said. When I look at somebody, instead of saying must be nice and being a victim and pointing the finger at them and giving them all the power, that's remember that, write that down. When you're pointing at
Yeah.
somebody, you're literally giving them all the power. Maybe it's somebody you hate. Oh, can't stop talking about them. Can't stop blaming them. They're the problem. You give all your power away, right? But instead of saying must be nice or whatever you just said, and it doesn't matter, you just find your own language in
Mhm.
your head. Well, why not me? Or what am I doing that's keeping me from having that kind of life, even if I wanted it? And you
Yeah.
can be a brat if you want to yourself and say, well, I don't want it. But what if
Yeah.
I did want it? Would
Yeah.
you know how to get it? You know?
I think it's funny too because you do see that a lot as well, where people are like, "Oh, well, I'm happy. Money doesn't buy happiness, and I'm happy." I just think that's such a crock. Like, no, money made. I know, like, really, at the end of the day, money does not buy happiness, but
That's too literal, right?
right, exactly, it sure can pay off the thousands of dollars of credit
Come
card
on now.
been stressing me out for the last 6 months, or it can book a vacation where I get to go and make beautiful memories with my family and my kids. It can, you know what I mean? So, no, it doesn't buy happiness, but in the world we live in, it is necessary for you to live a life that, is thriving, a thriving life, instead of just settling for, the bare minimum.
Well, I'll tell you what money can buy you: house cleaners,
Yes.
lawn cutters,
Babysit.
okay? Babysitters, nannies, okay? It can buy granny nannies for your older relatives instead of you always having to go over there and be a caretaker. Come on, talk to me now, people.
Yes.
Okay? There's services out there. It can pay for a lot of Uber Eats. It can pay for your groceries to get delivered. It could pay for you to have a dadgum chef come into your house and even cook for you. How do I know? Because I know.
Yeah.
It could pay for a wonderful car for you to drive around, and a different home for you to live in, a different school for your children to go to. It could pay for different clothes for you to wear, different health procedures or cosmetic procedures, right? I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do that are safe and have been proven, even approved
Yeah.
by the FDA, my friends, to where we can stay younger and healthier. And you know what all that shit costs?
Money.
The green
Yeah.
dead presidents.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like, really, like, that comment, it's just like, I think I get what they're trying to say, because yeah, if you have all the money and you can buy all that stuff, great, but if you haven't, like, really gotten in touch with yourself and healed any trauma that you may have, or done all that work, then you may still not be happy after that. And you know what? That's right.
Absolutely.
But
But it
that's
can
why.
pay for a lot of therapy. Do you want to know why most
Exactly.
of my friends don't go to therapy? Because they can't afford it.
Afford it. Yeah. Yeah.
You know why I've done so much therapy over the past 6 or 7 years? Because
Because you can
I mean,
afford it.
I'm like, because I can afford it. It's not I'm not, I talk about the therapy that I've gotten on this show every day more than I talk about the cars and the watches and houses that I have, right? Because
It's
honestly,
priceless.
it's been a better investment
Yeah,
in
totally.
myself, you
Because
know?
because of that, you've been able to embrace this life that you've built, and really, really embrace it and live it to its fullest, because you are a healed version of yourself as much as you can be in this moment, you
In this
know?
world, absolutely.
You know,
And it allows you to
that,
enjoy
when
your
I talk
success.
about mindset, that is really, really the summary of it all, is like, if you want to be successful, if you want, at the end of the success, if you want to be happy, you have to get real with yourself. You have to check your mindset. You have to heal any past traumas you may have, or at least be doing the work to work towards that. You have to get out of a victim mentality. You have to get real with yourself. And that's
Mhm.
really, that's the key.
Yeah, you
It'll
do.
set
You
you
do.
apart from everyone else.
It will. It will. And this has been refreshing and honest and wonderful this morning. And I'm really, really thrilled that you took the risk and didn't quit. And here we are. And I'd love to do a follow-up interview to see where you are and how you're doing here in a few months, if you'd be so kind to come back and see us.
I would love that. Thank you so much for the honor and the opportunity to be on here today. And this has been so much fun. Thank
It
you.
is. It is. And you're a great mind and a great thinker and a great communicator. Keep sharing, keep showing us how to create content that's authentic and that, is true to you, but also works, right? It's not just about going out there and just, we're not trying to heal ourselves on the internet.
Right.
We're trying to make money out there. But all this work that you're talking about doing helps us to be more confident, helps us to be more comfortable in our own skin. And I'll tell you what, those are the signs of somebody who is growing personally. The less the image matters. And, I call it image management. We're always managing our image to everybody. And we start just, being a little bit more comfortable in our own skin, being
Yeah.
a little bit more comfortable on camera, just being able to talk to people and to our audience more like friends instead of, like scary
Right.
people or people that can hurt us or whatever. Just knowing that you're in control of your destiny, you're in control of your safety, you're in control of where you take this business, how fast, how slow. You're in control. You take your power back in mind, body, spirit, in finances, and go on the journey, my friends. I mean, that's been a wonderful invitation and description of what this journey can be like from you this morning. And it's truly worth a re-listen if any of you came on late. Jessica, thank you for your time.
So
Stay
much.
legendary, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks, Dave.
All right. All right, my friends, wonderful interview with Jessica. You can find her on TikTok at Jess dot the marketing maven, and that's JESS dot the marketing maven. Maven spelled MAVEN, at Jess dot the marketing maven. She's also over on Instagram as well, and you can find her at the dot marketing dot maven. Okay. So she's on both of those platforms, and you can go connect with her, follow her, support her, learn from her. And based on what I heard from her this morning, sounds like she'd love to learn from you as well. And that's probably why she's experienced success, is because she has that mentality and that attitude. I'll see those of you who are going to be in Orlando this weekend here in a couple of days. We're getting ready to come on up there and meet you in just a few days. We'll see you on Friday. And we're also going to be streaming Wake Up Legendary live from the mansion at the Mastermind in Orlando. So be legendary, get out of here, have a great Tuesday. And thanks again, Jessica.